What is going on, guys? Johnny on the track, back with another video. And this weekend on Sunday, we have my favorite track on the schedule, Talladega, baby. It's Dega. It's one of those tracks where you just always feel like there's going to be a great show. There's going to be a great finish. The last Talladega race that Blaney won in the playoffs, battling with Harvick right to the very end, was just an amazing race, playoff race, like I said, nonetheless. We already had a great super speedway finish at Atlanta, so I am excited for what we should see this Sunday at Talladega. Coming off a pretty solid week. If you listen to the show, Brad Keselowski, top 4, Chase Briscoe ran well with a top 10 finish. We had Bubba Wallace run well with a top 10 finish. So, I would have liked to see Toyota win. I had a nice bet on them to be the winning manufacturer. But yeah, if you listen to the show and you play some of the bets that we give out on this show, you probably had a pretty good week. So that's good. Feel like we're building some momentum the last couple weeks, which is great. And now we take it to Talladega, a track where, yeah, we had a great win the last time we were at this track with Ryan Blaney. I think I had Blaney and Harvick. And of course, Blaney inched him out. That was an awesome race. I can't get that finish out of my mind right now, but that's just because I'm super excited for Talladega on Sunday. So with that, let's just do the quick plug for the NASCAR betting preview show. Make sure you give them a follow on the podcasts app or however you listen and consume your podcasts. That's the NASCAR betting preview show for the best NASCAR betting content in the NASCAR realm, quite frankly. Trucks, Xfinity, Cup, like we do on this show, they've got plenty to get you ready for the weekend that is Talladega. And of course, on Twitter, on X, NASCAR betting preview show goes live on Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's where you can see the actual live show. The podcast feed just got a bunch of podcasts from different betting content creators, including myself. So there it is. And without further ado, let's get into it. Talladega. All right. Not a lot of bets, but some big bets for sure. So the first bet I'm going to give out, it's the biggest bet I'll be placing this weekend. Let's get the most updated number on this bet, but it's 4 letters. It's 1 circle. It's 4 letters. In that circle, it's a manufacturer named Ford. Ford is the bet, the biggest bet that I am looking at this weekend, this Sunday at Talladega. Apologies. Give me 1 sec as I get the most updated number for this bet. Plus 170 is what you can get right now at Ford there, behind Chevrolet plus 150, and Toyota comes in surprisingly at plus 230. Normally, you would see these kind of all be about the same. But Ford, the middleman. And if you've watched any super speedways, Ford hasn't won them this year. Lost at Daytona, but had great cars. Keselowski, Logano, guys like that, always good. Atlanta, same thing. You look at a guy like Cindric, had a chance to win. But Ford, I just feel like their time is now. They are due. No wins at all for Ford as a manufacturer in the first 9 races. You feel like they're lagging behind a little bit at the mile and a halves, at the short tracks, but at the super speedways in terms of speed, they seem to usually be the class of the field in the next gen era. I know they haven't won the first 2 super speedways, but they've been the fastest manufacturer. You cannot deny that. I am so high on Ford, from Logano to Keselowski to Blaney to Cindric to Priest to Briscoe. Who else can we throw? Gregson. Ford is who I feel comfortable with this weekend. I feel like they're going to get the job done. I feel like a Ford's going to be in victory lane. And I just think they are due for a win and really just to build some momentum. It's been the Joe Gibbs Racing and the Hendrick Motorsports show so far, but Penske has started to gain a little ground. They're looking better. Even Stewart Haas Racing, Briscoe now in the playoffs. If the playoffs started today, he'd be in. Priest seems to be building some momentum. You see flashes of Gregson. So I think that team as well. And I just, yeah, look, it's a feeling bet, but the numbers support. If you look at green flag speed, average running position, usually Fords at these super speedways in the next gen era are up front. So Ford is the big bet for me this weekend. Bet number 2. Where am I going? Where am I going? Well, I'm so confident in Ford. I'm actually going to switch gears and I'm going to give you a Chevy driver. His name is, you might know it. It might ring a bell. It might be fresh in your mind. His name is Chase Elliott. He's a 2-time Talladega winner. He won in the first year of the next gen, the playoff race in 2022. And then what was that? Yeah, one of his early wins, I think his 4th career win in 2019, he won at Talladega. So when you look at the comparison of his results on Talladega versus Daytona, he is a much better driver on Talladega. And that just happens sometimes. I don't really know why. That was sort of the Dale Jr. thing as well. Jr. was great at Talladega. Won a couple Daytona 500s, obviously, but just was a better super speedway racer when it came to Talladega. So I like Elliott in this spot. He's had last 3 races, 5th, 3rd, 1st at Texas. His worst finish this year is 19th. That team is clicking on all cylinders. And it just feels like one of those bets where a guy who hasn't won in forever and finally wins. He wins back-to-back races. That happened, if you remember, 2 years ago with Kevin Harvick in the next gen era. Had that huge dry spell where he was looking for a win. He got one at, I think Michigan was the track. Next week, the following week was Richmond. He wins Richmond. This stuff, it's weird how it happens, but it just seems to happen sometimes. I even remember, like, it happened with Kyle Busch with the broken leg. Like, the minute he won that Sonoma race, he clicked off a couple more wins like in rapid succession. So I think Chase Elliott, if you're going to buy into the Chase Elliott stock, buy it now because I think still like a lot of books are kind of underrating who Chase Elliott is. I was high on him early in the season. I guess it took a little bit longer than I would have liked, but I think Chase Elliott in this spot where now the pressure's off, they've made the playoffs. He's going to be racing for wins. We don't care about points anymore. And you bring a guy who has his confidence right now at an all-time high after coming off that win at a good track for him like Talladega where he's won twice. I like that. I think it's a good one. Let's check the value on that right now. 1,100. Maybe you can shop around, get it closer to that 15 number, but I don't know. Seems like plus 1,100, plus 1,200 is a pretty good number to get Chase Elliott at a super speedway. All right, another bet. And let's find this guy on the most recent board, plus 3,000. Shop around because I feel this is DraftKings, by the way, but let's shop around. We might be able to find a better number on this driver. Okay. Yeah. So this guy had an abysmal start to the season, had an abysmal season last year, but he's won at super speedways before. In fact, he's won at Daytona twice, and he finally got a top 10 after running prior. It was like top 25s were what this team was looking for. Austin Dillon in the 3 car. I just feel like Austin Dillon needed some sort of a change. They needed a switch up. And they got rid of his crew chief after the Richmond race, and Martinsville comes around. Some signs of life, but still ends up finishing 34th. But you felt like they had a better car than where they ran. And what happens last week? Texas, 7th place. His best finish in since Richmond last year. Um, so Austin Dillon, I feel like he's one of those guys where, like, the seventh place at Texas, it clicked for him. And I feel like now with that new crew chief, there might be some confidence gaining. And to go from a top 10 at a really favorable track, like he's been good at Texas in his career, to now a super speedway where he's run second at, he's got plenty of top 10s in his Cup Series career at Talladega. A few top fives as well. So Austin Dillon. If you think Austin Dillon is going to make the playoffs, it's going to be something like this. He's either going to win that Daytona race or win this Talladega race. That's how it's going to happen for Austin Dillon. I don't see it happening any other way. And RCR in the next gen era, especially when with Kyle Busch and Austin Dillon paired together, they've been good at super speedways. Had a chance to win the Daytona 500 last year. We're both good in the Daytona 500 this year. Didn't get the results, obviously, they deserve, but both had fast cars. So Austin Dillon is an interesting one to watch this weekend. I've got some sort of just a feeling like that seventh place might awake something in Austin Dillon, because the interesting thing about Austin Dillon is prior to really the next gen car, like Dillon was a really reliable, consistent guy. Like he would usually run top 15 just about every race. Pointed his way in the playoffs a couple times. It's weird to see him in the last 2 years be so inconsistent, but still with that being said, he's good at super speedways, and I feel like maybe some confidence with that team off to Talladega feels like it could be something good. One more bet I'm going to throw out. I'm going to ride the Jot hand. Ride the hot hand, but we're calling it Jot, Johnny on the track. Ride the Jot hand. Bubba Wallace for us the past 2 weeks has been quite a monster. Fourth place at Martinsville, seventh at Texas. We've won a couple back-to-back bets with this man. I'm going to ride this hot hand and take him at Talladega for an outright win. He's won here before. Yes, it was a rain-shortened race, but he was still out front leading laps, did what he had to do. There looks to be some rain in the forecast this weekend, so maybe that will play into a strength of that team. But Bubba Wallace, Talladega, super speedways, he's been pretty good, pretty darn good, quite frankly, at super speedways in his career. He had a chance to win Talladega, this Talladega race last year, and he got into it, I think it was Blaney on one of the final laps there. So Bubba Wallace, I'm going to ride the hot hand. I'm going to take a guy who's won at Talladega before, who's a good established super speedway racer. Numbers on Bubba right now, we put him at plus 1,500, so 15-1. Pretty good value to get Bubba Wallace at there. He's had 4 top 15s in a row, and a top 5 and a top 10 in that stretch. Started off the season too, Daytona 5th, Atlanta 5th. So the 2 super speedways we've run at, he's had top 5s. So maybe that's a bet you want to throw down as well. Bubba Wallace for a top 5. But there is the card. One more time. Not a lot of bets, but we're going heavy on this stuff. Ford to win, Chase Elliott to win, Austin Dillon to win, Bubba Wallace to win. That's all I feel like we need. I think Ford is going to win that, and we're going to have a good one. Maybe if you want to do my advice always, and I say this every time we do a super speedway, bet small to win big. There's value across the board. So if you want to put some wagers on some of these Fords on money line, absolutely go for it. But the bets I'll be placing are Ford, Chase, Dillon, Bubba. There it is. Appreciate you guys watching. Give this video a like. It goes a long way for the channel. Want to know what you guys think? Put it in the comment section below for who you're targeting this week at Dega. And subscribe if you're a first-time watcher, viewer. We appreciate it. We talk motorsports. We talk betting. We talk all the good stuff on Tuesdays. So thanks for watching, and let's go win some money.